Yeah. That's how I'm going to do the whole episode.
Oh my God, please.
It's like so good.
I'm developing a character now. I do my podcasting like this.
She's a valley girl.
I'm a valley girl. Y'all. No, okay, right. Let's be serious. Let's be very, very serious business.
This is serious
very fucking
business.
serious. Right, I think we're just going to start.
Yeah.
So, welcome everyone. Welcome back to the Manchester Independent Theatre Podcast. You are here with me, Caroline.
And Amelia.
And we have another special guest for you today. Lots coming up for him. We have Liam High. Really great to have him here. Hi, Liam.
Hi.
So, yeah, I think before we crack on and talk to Liam about all the very cool stuff he's got going on, we'll start with our What's On in Manchester. So do you want to kick off with that, Amelia?
Yep. The first show I want to give a shout out to is Quentin Crisp's Naked Hope, which is a solo show written and performed by Mark Farrelly and directed by Linda Marlowe at Hope Mill Theatre that's coming on the 14th of September. So Mark Farrelly will be bringing his hugely acclaimed solo play to Hope Mill for an up-close encounter with the original Englishman in New York. From a conventional upbringing to global notoriety via The Naked Civil Servant, Quentin Crisp was one of the most memorable figures of the 20th century. Openly gay as early as the 1930s, Quentin spent decades being beaten up on London streets for refusing to be anything less than himself. His courage and the philosophy that evolved from those experiences inspired to the present day. Naked Hope depicts Quentin at two phases of his extraordinary life: alone in his Chelsea flat in the 1960s, certain that life has passed him by, and 30 years later, performing an evening with Quentin Crisp in New York. Packed with witty gems on everything from cleaning to marriage, Naked Hope is a glorious, uplifting celebration of the urgent necessity to be your true self. So that sounds brilliant. It's a really exciting show by Mark Farrelly coming to Hope Mill Theatre. So best of luck with this show, Mark, and we're very excited to see it. It is coming to Hope Mill Theatre on the 14th of September.
Brilliant. Additionally, we have another wonderfully named event. We've got so many great names that come up at the moment. So this is Crying into Bins, and this is written and performed by actress and poet Leah Burge. It's coming to 53.2 on the 27th of September. So the synopsis of this is: from the food waste bin into which her friend had a nervous breakdown, Leah tries to make sense of the 20 years she spent serving food and drink. Crying into Bins chronicles tales collected over 2 decades and takes shape as a long-form spoken-word poem. But expect a little more than one woman and a microphone. This is a fast-paced and funny poetical exploration of mental health, societal structures, terrible rage and bittersweet acceptance. So again, that is at 53.2 on the 27th of September, Crying into Bins by Leah Burge. I don't think we have enough exploration of the hospitality industry
Absolutely
in the arts, because it is something that almost every single one of us is forced to experience. I certainly have. The pains. So Leah seems to have hit on a really strong touch point for a lot of people, including myself. So I'm excited to see that. But that was our What's On. Now we're going to get on to Liam High and all his fantastic experiences to date and what he's got coming up. So do you want to introduce Liam there, Amelia?
Yes. Without further ado, let us introduce our special guest.
Woo!
Liam High began his career in professional theatre by working as a freelance producer in Cambridge and London, helping to bring his friends' work to life. And when all his projects were cancelled in 2020 due to COVID, he decided to write his own. And in 2021, Liam moved to Manchester to study an MA in playwriting at the University of Manchester.
Big up.
In 2023, his play Some Masterchef Shit won the Audience Award for Favourite Play at the New Writing Festival, OffCut. The full-length play was produced at 53.2 in 2024, and since then he's taken it to the Edinburgh Fringe, and just last month they did a week-long run at the Glitch in London. Now Liam's preparing for his next play, Eric vs. the Beaver, which is premiering at 53.2 next month from the 16th to the 18th of September.
That's really exciting. This has been like a heck of a lot going on for you in a short space of time, right?
Yeah. You've had massive success with your last play, and this is it now. You've got your next one up, and with the same director as well.
Yes, same director, James Cave. He is just wonderful. We have a really great working relationship and, friendship as well.
But once you find someone who gets your work, it's like, why? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, keep working with that great person.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It was just chance that put us together because we were paired together for OffCut.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And I had obviously no say in that. And also George, who still plays Luke.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh, yeah.
yeah.
George his career's gone from strength to
Honest to
strength
God.
as well. What a
Incredible.
guy.
I know, and they're both so lovely and down to earth as well. So
Yes.
yeah, it was just chance that put us together, and it just happened that it was like the perfect fit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And before the microphone came on, you were telling me that it was your first play.
Yes. Well, my first play produced.
Yeah,
Obviously,
your
I
first-
wrote plays for the masters. to be
Sure,
fair,
of course,
but-
yeah. But that's like from education, from
Yeah.
doing it to get a grade to...
To then taking it to the Edinburgh Fringe and
Yeah.
having like a full run and production. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's crazy, and we're not done yet.
No.
we want to do a tour.
Oh,
Is the next plan of like 1 or 2 nights at like various places around the UK.
that's so
But yeah.
exciting. And with your history as a producer as well,
Mhm.
you'll be well grounded in how that all works. So that's very exciting. Because as we've mentioned in your bio, I've seen
Mhm.
that it's popped up here, there and everywhere, and it feels like it's going from strength to strength. You know, it's one of these things
Yeah.
that it's not gonna end anytime soon, it seems.
Yeah, as it should. Like, you know, you've written this piece, it's been such a success, and obviously you want to keep doing it and taking it to new places and new audiences.
Yeah, it feels weird. It feels to me like the gremlin in my brain is like, you're just rehashing the same old shit. Do you know what I mean?
Nah.
No.
But if it still works, then carry on, I guess.
Well, exactly. And I feel as well, like, even if it sort of bleeds into new work, I struggled with this for a while. I wanted to make every single piece that I wrote completely unique and different. And then I realised, actually, if you watch someone's canon of work, there's always callbacks, there's always themes that they return to.
Yeah.
And you have a brand, you know. In fact, a lot of people, like, for example, writers' agents or production companies, are looking for, you know, what is a Liam High play?
Mhm.
It's a bit like a band
Yeah.
where if their next album sounds nothing like their last, people are going to be like, who's this?
Yeah.
You know? So I think
Yeah.
it's great to keep finding your form and returning to your style. Definitely.
Oh, thank you so much.
And I mean, I don't want to rush through it, but speaking of which, Eric and the Beaver.
Yes.
Yes, your new play.
Yeah. So basically, how that came about, I got an agent off the back of Some Masterchef Shit.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Amazing.
The same agent who represents James, because
Brilliant.
he just came to see the play, and I think we kind of almost like slid into each other's DMs at the same time, because I was like, hey, do you reckon you could set me up a meeting with Anthony? And I think he was kind of like, hey, can I talk to Liam?
Hello, it's Caroline from the future here. We had a bit of a glitch at this one very precise moment in the episode. It seems to happen at the same time every time we record, and we've managed to gloss over it or edit it out every single time, except this time Liam was giving some key information. So what happened basically was the agent who was interested in representing him tasked him with creating an entire new play for basically assured production.
And I didn't go to sleep until I came up with a concept, which was
Understandably.
that night. It's like, to be fair, I wasn't awake for days, but it was a long night.
It's like
But-
when inspiration hits and you're feeling really motivated, those are the nights, isn't it? Like up till
Exactly.
3 a.m, like, right, I'm going to get something down tonight.
And the promise of, like, this is more likely to go somewhere than if I just come up with this by myself in a vacuum. Like, someone has asked for this.
Yeah.
yeah.
There's
and-
more pressure, but there's also more, like, promise of reward.
Yeah.
So, jumping back to Some Masterchef Shit,
Mhm.
I haven't actually seen it, so I'm really excited if and when, well, I say when it comes back, I'm excited to see it. But do you have like a bit of a rundown of the themes of that particular play?
Yeah, so I mean, it's really hard to talk about without spoiling. So scene 1, like, we, the audience, think we're seeing a date in a coffee shop
Okay.
between these two men. Luke, who's like a early 20s barista, and Adam, who's a vascular surgeon. He's a lot more middle class. So like, you think it's kind of like an odd couple date situation.
Sure.
And then at the end of scene 1, it's kind of revealed that the reason they've met is actually because Luke has agreed to let Adam and his.
Oh, brilliant. Okay.
Yeah, so it's inspired by the real life case from 2001 in Germany.
Yes.
So I was researching into that. I was kind of looking, essentially, I've always been very interested by that case, and I wanted to use it as a metaphor because my day job, I work in like mental health services in the
Yeah.
NHS
yeah.
doing admin. So I wanted to use it to look at the idea of capacity and how when you're depressed, you know, if you're depressed to the point of being suicidal, you have to have a mental health fact assessment. to see if you have capacity to make decisions about your own life. So the idea that you can be depressed to the point of not being able to make those decisions, I thought, let's branch that out, that idea of consent, to look at consent in sex, essentially. So it's kind of like a metaphor for like, if you're that depressed, can you consent to sleeping with someone?
That's fascinating.
So yeah, that's where it came from.
That's absolutely fascinating. Yeah. No, that's obviously made me want to watch it more than ever, because that fascinates me as well. The fact you work in mental health, that's clearly a great point to jump off for writing for theatre in particular, because it's so human.
No, it was really cool. And I do remember seeing it when it was in its initial stages at OffCut in 2023, because I was part of that OffCut festival. I remember being in the audience, seeing it for the first time, and just hearing the reactions of when people realised like what was happening, and it was so endearing in terms of like the characters. They had such a connection, and I felt like we were really intrigued by them. And then you think it's going one way, and then all of a sudden it kind of opens up this whole like other scenario. Anyone watching, I think, was so intrigued to see how that would be developed. I felt like we needed to know what happened with these characters. So it was really great that you got to develop it and make it into a full play.
I can imagine that being an ideal offcut, because like you just like, where do we go from here? It must be so fascinating.
I'd already written the whole thing.
That's great.
So I just basically cut down scene 1 in like the full 90-minute version that we did the following year. It was essentially each scene was half an hour. So I basically just cut scene 1 down to 15 minutes. And that's what I submitted for OffCut. So yeah, it just worked really well.
That seems ideal. That really does. And then obviously moving on now, you know, you've got basically a commission to write the next piece, you could say. So are you able to also give us a bit of a synopsis
teaser.
of teaser
Absolutely.
for Eric versus the Beaver?
So it's about a guy called Eric and his boyfriend Harry, and I just really wanted to write something that was like focused on a gay relationship that was full of love.
Oh,
that
brilliant.
wasn't, not to spoil it, there's no tragedy. One of them doesn't die, you know, there's no horrible things happening to either of them. It's just a nice, loving, queer couple at the centre of it. But yeah, the premise is that Eric loses his job and he doesn't know what he's going to do next. But he's watched this Louis Theroux documentary on sex workers earlier that night while he's waiting for his boyfriend to get home from work. And so he decides, you know what, I'll be a sex worker. I think it matches my skills. I think I'll be great. And then Harry, for him, obviously that's crossing a boundary.
Yeah.
So they decide on the compromise that because he's 100% gay, he'll sleep with women. And so it won't count as cheating because there's no attraction.
Oh, wow.
So that's kind of like the concept.
I love that. That's
that's
so
so
interesting. Also, like, I'm so glad that Louis Theroux's finally got a reference.
Yeah.
He is my boy. I love that man.
Yeah.
Love that
What
man.
a guy.
Honestly.
I'm surprised I haven't snuck him into one of my plays yet. Maybe one day there'll be a reference because I love him. But that's great. That's wonderful.
My plays are all full of references to TV. I watch a lot of TV.
That's great. That's a fascinating thing. And I think as well, like, that's something that I'd like to explore a bit more in my writing, is the revision of how we look at relationships now. You know, it's a lot more fluid. Things are open to discussion that have never really been before. Exactly. And that sounds like it's very timely in that respect, but just a really interesting concept in general.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And also, harking back to when we spoke to Flatpack, they were talking about having a queer relationship in a play. And we kind of went on for a while about how when you represent a queer relationship on stage, it always seems to be full of angst and full of tragedy. And like, either the fact that someone is gay is the story.
Yeah.
And it's a bit like we've moved on from there. Obviously, if it's a historical piece or something, sometimes people need reminding that these things weren't always considered okay by general society and we can't go back to that.
Yeah.
But other times it is just like, let's get over the fact that people are gay and just tell a story
about a relationship between two people.
To be gay.
Yeah, exactly. And it's focused. And that's what I find so interesting about this concept as well, is like the nuance of that relationship and how in every relationship, you know, how they have conversations and every relationship is very unique. And I think it really explores like what can happen to a dynamic when you sort of open up those questions and the potentials of opening up a relationship and what that can bring and how that can affect an existing dynamic and how that changes. Like I'm so fascinated by relationships between characters as well, and kind of exploring that as a writer. So I feel like that definitely must be a lot of fun to kind of sit down and really unpack kind of where you want to go with that and how their relationship might evolve and change because of those decisions.
Yeah, there's a lot of twists and turns, I would say, in this one as well. It's definitely an interesting topic to explore, especially because, you know, queer people, I think a lot of people think every queer relationship is open now.
Yeah.
And like, we're all fucking everything that moves, you know.
That's like a stereotype that's never really gone away, isn't it?
No. So yeah, I kind of wanted to look at like these two particular characters who are, you know, more anxious than your average person, you know, not based on me at all, and how they would fit within that box as a way of kind of challenging that stereotype in a completely, obviously, non-judgmental way to anyone who is in an ethical, non-monogamous relationship or an open relationship. I am personally not, but it's, does that fit everyone? No, essentially. But it's okay for those who it does, and it's okay for those who it doesn't, essentially.
I love a grey area.
Yeah, I love a grey area.
It's so difficult to balance, isn't it? Because the audience is watching and waiting for you to pass judgment, aren't they, really? And it's like, when you don't, how do you do that in a way that's satisfying? Yeah, it's really interesting, that. I really love that. Also, I didn't know that we did the same MA a year apart.
Wow.
You did it the year after me.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I did think that when I saw that you'd done the MA. I was thinking of you both on this. Because you were also at the University of Manchester.
I was,
That's crazy.
So Anders Lustgarten, Chloe Moss, Tim Price, all
Shout
the
out
hits.
to those guys,
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, really, really great.
Such a great course.
Before you did your MA, had you written many plays before that? Did you feel like the MA, obviously you're writing plays a lot, you're learning from like these great writers themselves, like did you feel that was a real like moment
absolutely.
for you?
Yeah, like I hadn't really written anything before. I wrote one play, like I said, like in lockdown, in the intro, basically just for something to do because I was going out my mind, you know, because I was still working for the NHS, still going into the office, and you know, it was a tricky time.
Of course,
I was working with older people for an older people mental health crisis team, so
that must have been,
they're obviously more vulnerable.
Yeah,
we were moving everything online, so it was virtual appointments. So then,
not great for older
people.
Generally, not always, but generally.
Yeah, so it was a tricky time. So I just wrote something for myself, something to do. And I thought, you know what, now's the time. Let's apply for the masters. Obviously, for everyone, COVID was a point of transformation.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I hadn't actually come out to my family until that point. Yeah, so quite late compared to the average. And I think before that, I didn't want to write because I was like, even if I wasn't going to be writing about sexuality, I was just worried about being seen on like a subconscious level.
I suppose the idea that you had to hide a part of yourself meant you couldn't be completely honest in your writing.
Yeah. So I didn't write anything, just in case.
What a crazy mix of things to happen at once. Like the fact that you were working in the NHS during COVID, the fact that before that you'd been working as a producer, so all of your projects ground to a halt, and the fact that you had this personal journey you were going on. You've obviously come out of it like with a direction, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it could have I could see a world in which that would have broken someone entirely. So that's incredibly impressive.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm so glad that it's kind of set you on this track because it's obviously where you're supposed to be right now, you know? You're doing so well.
That's so nice.
This is your calling.
Yeah, well, clearly. I mean, I think there's an element of envy here that I cannot get over the fact that your first like professionally produced play, or your first play that wasn't sort of written just for yourself or just in university, has done so well. It's so cool, you know.
Thank you.
I am envious,
I'm not good at taking compliments. I'm just saying,
I've been telling lots of people off that recently. Take your flowers. Take your flowers, Liam. You deserve them.
Thank you so much.
This is part of the podcast. We sit here and bombard people with compliments until they're quivering round. But take this and enjoy it. But no, huge congrats. And
thank you.
And you know, you're hoping that Some Masterchef Shit, there might be a little tour coming up, which is very cool.
Yeah, I mean that's great as well, that when you've written a piece, especially when it's your first piece that you've ever done, it's like knowing which direction you want to take it. It was great, I guess, as part of of OffCut that you were able to produce it and have it
Yeah.
made the next year. But like you say, there's everything to think about, like a tour and where you want to take it, and taking it to Edinburgh Fringe. And did you find working with James on that and having that all lined up for the piece, did you see that kind of happening? Did you want to take it to the Fringe, and did you see it having a really long future?
I mean, it's a bucket list for any writer to take a play to the Fringe.
Absolutely.
So I've always wanted to do that. And if you told me, 2 years ago, that I would have done that, I would have said, shut your fucking mouth.
Shut the fuck up.
Stop testing me. But yeah, so to have it happening is crazy. And it is obviously thanks to OffCut and the support of 53 to produce it. Like, those first 2 years of the play's life, other than writing it and sitting there being very nervous, I didn't really have to do a lot because they did everything. Like 53 they built the set, they did the poster, we already had the cast and the director. Everything was kind of done. We had a couple of R&D sessions, but that was it from my input. It was just so well supported by them. They did everything. It's such an amazing springboard.
That must have been a complete turn up for you when you'd been working as a producer.
Yeah.
Like, that must have felt very alien.
Yeah, it was great.
Like, you must have had itchy fingers. Like, can I do something? Can I do? And they're like, no, we got this.
Yeah, I'm sure I did turn up a couple of times at the bar and be like, hi Simon, do you want me to take some flyers around?
I really want to
did
help.
do, but
Yeah.
just let me do something. So
That's really great though, you wanted to be involved and help in any way you could, and having that experience as a producer as well before going into writing. I mean, that's so valuable. You've got all this knowledge and experience around kind of working with other people and their plays, and you're able to bring that to your own as well as being the writer and having that vision for it.
I mean, every project you learn such different things, don't you? Like,
Oh, yeah.
even just this most recent run in London, I opt it for the first time. I've never done that before. I was filming trailers and editing them on my phone. I've never done that before.
Amazing.
All this stuff that you just
trying new things
you just
and
have to do it
exactly.
because there's no one else to do it. So
We've
let's
talked
just
about
get
that
it,
a lot.
Oh, for real.
get it done.
And the role of the producer is never the same twice, is it?
No,
Like you say,
no.
you learn new things all the time. It's one of the most varied jobs. It almost feels like when I write a contract for a producer, I'm just like, and anything else that might happen,
Literally.
because it's like, how you can't plan for everything.
Yeah.
It's often hugely thankless, massively underpaid. It's such an interesting point at which to enter the creative industries, because people often come in as an actor or a writer and then find that they have to produce because otherwise things won't get put on. But it's quite unique that you started as a producer.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
You kind of already had that producer hat on while you were writing as well.
Yeah. So definitely with Eric versus the Beaver, when Anthony asked me to write it, I was very much like, right, how can we make this as budget friendly as possible? So the whole thing is just set
But that's not your
across
problem.
two bedrooms. I know, but
No, that's
I want to
so-
be nice.
That's great though that you can have that consideration as a writer and be able to accommodate that as well, because I know obviously when it does come to putting things on, and teams are so great at being able to bring things together and do their best by the piece, but the fact that you actually have a bit of that in mind as a writer, I think is a great skill as well.
It is a great skill, definitely. And I was told, I don't know if you were told this, but I think it was as part of my MA, I think it was Anders, was like, don't, it's not your problem, it's the director's problem, it's the set designer's problem. You just write your thing and they're going to have to figure out how to do it, which is nice because it kind of gives you full free reign over your writing. But, then, for example, when I told our recent guest, Helen Parry, that that's what I'd been told, she was like, well, what the fuck am I supposed to do? It's like, there's a couple of times when I put in for OffCut and they turned around and said, we cannot do this. It is physically impossible to do this on a stage with the budget that we have.
It's great having the imagination and the ambition, but it's like,
Absolutely.
do you have the resources?
Yes, there is that.
That is always the challenge, isn't it?
It's that balance, isn't it? And I think coming in from a producer's perspective is helpful in that sense, definitely.
I feel like I remember Anders saying, always put something in your play that a director's going to be thinking, now how the hell am I going to do that? Because that's what's going to make them want to do the project.
I guess.
Something that's going to test them.
A challenge for a director as well. Like, how can I actually make this happen and for it to look great and to do, the best by the writing?
I think the example he gave was blood trickling down the walls. It's like, how is someone going to do that? And I was like, well, I don't know.
That's
And that's
really
why I don't direct.
interesting.
Yes, I know, that's the same. I don't direct as well. But also, he's never worked with my long-time collaborator, Helen Parry, because she'd just read that and go, well, what the fuck? She's just taking the piss. She's definitely game for a challenge, though.
Yeah.
No, that is really interesting. I often wonder what attracts someone to being a producer, because I am not admin friendly. Like, I want to just go and do the stuff. So...
Yeah, I've heard from a friend who has produced quite a lot of shows that I know and cabarets that they say they actually like producing other people's work.
Yeah, I can see
rather
that.
than their own that they've perhaps written or been really close to from the start. So that's an interesting perspective. But I know that it is definitely a choice, and it's definitely a discipline in itself. And I have so much respect for producers, especially if you're a writer, an actor, and you're so excited about the actual piece itself, whether you're the performer or you just want to get the story like right and the characters where you want them to be. There has to be that person that that thinks about, right, well, how are we actually going to make this? You know, how are we going to put this on? And they are essential, and someone who obviously is willing to put their hand up and be like, hey, I'm going to take charge of this, you know, and do it. Then
to me it feels like
brilliant.
The one job that compiles everything that no one else wants to do because it's too difficult. Was there something that attracted you to producing as the first port of call in your creative career, Liam, do you reckon?
Yeah. So when I was at university the first time during my undergrad, I was in a repertory theatre company.
Very cool.
Which I joined in literally my first term. I was in at least one play a term. I used to act as well, but I don't do that anymore. Too scary.
Never say never. Never say never. You might come back round to it.
Potentially. But yeah, in my third year, I became the production coordinator. So it was basically every term, you know, we had about 20, 30 people in the company, and everyone would say, yes, I'd like to act this term, or I'd like to direct this term, I'd like to do backstage this term. And I'd look at all those numbers and work out what plays we could do. If we were doing a pre-published play or if someone had something they'd written, I basically just ran the company for the year, I guess.
Oh, that's
and I
such
just
great experience.
had those skills. Yeah, that's where I met our mutual friend Abbie.
Yes, yeah, I was
Who
wondering,
we
when
love.
we would get
Yeah.
onto this, Abbie Neale, the brilliant Abbie Neale. I was telling Caroline before we started recording that I did National Youth Theatre a few years ago, and Abbie and I were flatmates. And then when your show came on at 53.2, Abbie and I were in touch about it, and Abbie was saying, like, oh yeah, my really good friend Liam's written a play, and it's so cool, and we were talking about it, and yeah, she's just absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, she's so talented. She's killing it in Norwich at the moment.
Yeah, she's so great. I was saying she's published a book of poems, and she's such a fantastic writer, and yeah, so that was really interesting. But again, you know, it's such a small world, isn't it? How you end up kind of meeting different people through different things, but yeah, it was interesting how I remember when we were all at the bar at 53.2 when we were talking about your show, and just how excited she was for you, and we were all just so happy. And I think there was a really great energy, because it was like, oh right, you know, I've seen this now, it's the full play has just been on, and that must be such a buzz for you as well when you're coming to the end of that run, and then seeing like kind of how many people were talking about it and like buzzing off it. And
yeah, it was absolutely lovely. I mean, the pinnacle moment is still always going to be like the final of OffCut though. Like, it's crazy. It's electric. It was obviously completely sold out. There were people sitting on the stairs. So to then win when we were up against such, you know, stiff competition, it just, I mean, I burst into tears.
Of course.
Immediately.
Right.
It was insane. So yeah, nothing will ever beat that. But yeah, every time we do it is wonderful. Yeah. I just love it.
I mean, the feeling is so wonderful, isn't it? Just hearing the name of your play being called out must be fantastic, because you convince yourself, don't you? Oh, it's not going to be. You know, I'm going to be, obviously, like you say, such stiff competition. You're there going, I'm happy for anyone who wins because everyone's great, and then then your name gets called, and you're like, oh my god.
the video of Caroline recording when they were announcing best writer this year's OffCut was hilarious, because you were literally like, you were there.
I was ready to
recording,
whoever
and you
won.
dropped, like, you basically dropped your phone. You were like,
Screaming,
like drop your phone. Was like, you were just literally, it was perfect because I was recording as well, and then I could just hear you in the background going, "Oh my god, it's me!"
Yeah. So well, I was totally convinced because my director had won Best Director, so I'm like, well, obviously I'm not going to win Best Writer, but that's great. I'll capture whoever gets it and I'll send the video to them. And then like my name came up and I was like,
yeah, what a team. That's what I love so much about OffCut though, is I can absolutely see like the excitement in the room when a play would win, because it's such a celebration of new writing, and it's often the beginning of the journeys for a lot of these plays and these actors and
not
collaborations.
Not just the ones who win as well, you know, like lots of plays from my year and subsequent years have gone on to have future lives, and it's just wonderful. It's just such a great chance for people to connect and find collaborators.
And the fact that the industry panel's there as well, it's like that is a direct line to the professional tier of whatever practice you want to do, which is so rare. It's often so difficult to kind of get through that glass ceiling, and that gives an opportunity, a platform for you to get in contact with them and say, I wrote this play at OffCut, it'd be nice to go for a coffee or something like that. It's really, really fabulous. And the fact that there are different awards as well, obviously best play is like a wonderful one to get, the creme de la creme in a way, but then you've got, you know, your best writers, your best directors, your ensemble, which means that there's so much more to it.
There's recognition for everybody involved in the projects, and I love that, like for the different kind of disciplines involved in making that happen. I do really love it. It's really great.
We're so lucky to have it.
Yeah,
thank God Daniel moved up from London.
Yeah, what a guy. What a guy. You know, it's a huge undertaking for one person, really. I know he's got 53-2 support and everything, but it's so much of it is just Daniel.
Yeah, and I think 2023 was the first year it was brought back after a bit of a hiatus, wasn't it? I know Daniel had a successful run of it in London, and then your play from the first year it came back, and now seeing where it is, it's great. So, like, it actually does, you know, really opens opportunities for so many people.
It's quite nice to have this opportunity to ask another writer this, because I got asked this quite a bit. I know that Some Masterchef Shit was basically your first professional produced piece, but the OffCut approach of you send the play in, they choose your director chooses your actors, and then you, depending on your relationship with the director or the director's preference, you can come into as many rehearsals or as few rehearsals as you want. How did you find that, and what's your preference there in terms of being in rehearsal or not?
I like a very hands-off approach.
Very cool.
I like to just be there at the start in case anyone has any questions. And then I'll go away and come back when it's finished and be amazed and surprised. Like, I think I would never direct my own work, because even though it's not really my personality, but I have a fear that I'd end up being like a dictator and being like, I didn't write it like that. so I think it's very important to me to have lots of other voices in the room.
I fully agree.
Putting their stamp on things. So that's why I don't really like to get involved. I want to let the director and the actors just do their thing.
Yeah. When you do come in, then when you've handed it over, you know, you've let them do their thing with it, and then when you come in the audience and see the choices they've made, that must be, I mean, I know whenever I've written something and I've seen it performed, like, it's such a thrill, isn't it, to see, oh my gosh, like, I love, like, just the way that actor has delivered that line, or the director's choices of, like, the set and kind of how it looks, and certain moments that have been pulled out of the script that I would never have thought of maybe when I wrote it initially. That's what's great, I think, about it, is because it is kind of seeing it with completely fresh eyes, even though you've written it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, my experience as well was that a decision was made by my director and cast that was completely not intended when I wrote it with mine, and it was brilliant. Like, the first rehearsal, it was like, well, obviously this is what's happening, and I'm like, is it? Well, fucking go with it then. Let's see. And it worked so well.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, but that's so exciting. And if I was in quite a few rehearsals. I purely wasn't in that many because I was so busy. But also I do try and apply a hands-off approach, because I get curious, and I'm not protective, but I am like a kid before Christmas trying to find their presents hidden away and seeing what's in them.
I wouldn't say I'm not present. I am physically there, but I just don't really.
Yeah, you just kind of
I just watch.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. I like that, and I like to see how far in a completely different direction it's taken.
Yeah.
Because it's that collaborative element, it's that other layer of someone else's creativity in there, which is so exciting. I love it.
Yeah.
And every time we do Some Masterchef Shit, there's additional layers. There's new little moments.
Of course, yeah.
Callum from OffCut, and the first year, unfortunately, he couldn't come to Edinburgh, so we've now got Harry Freeman, who has taken over the role of Adam. He brings a completely different interpretation of the character, which is amazing. And George, every time he does it, he's like, right, what can I do differently? What different side of Luke can I show this time? And it's just amazing.
That is so exciting.
It's crazy.
I've had returning plays where we've had to recast because people hadn't been able to come back, hadn't got the availability, and it transforms it, doesn't it, into a completely different play.
Hugely.
It's so exciting. So that's really cool as well. And it's just a two-hander as well, which makes it so much different. Having it just being this person having to now play a central role against this opposite central role, that must completely flip things on their head.
Yeah, and it completely changed the way George was doing it when he was doing it with Harry, because his interpretation of Adam was, I guess, a lot stiffer, a lot more repressed than Callum's. So when he's performing it like that, obviously George then performs Luke in a completely different way to kind of needle at him a bit more and to try and get him to loosen up. And
that's the beauty of live theatre as well, isn't it? It's that every time like new moments come up, and the audience every night of a run as well, that they're always laughing at different parts. They're always thinking like everyone has their own.
Weird.
Isn't it? Like the second that the piece starts, it's like out of everyone's hands. Then it's just that's on stage. As people are watching it, they're gonna have their own interpretations of what's happening, what they enjoy, what they relate to, and that's what makes it, I think, fun for any actor as well. Is that no matter how many times you've done it, every night is going to be different.
That's even just playing against the same actors, you know, for a run, and then if you bring someone entirely new in, that transforms everything, and it's testament to how great the actor that sort of stayed on is, testament to how versatile they are and how good of a listener and a responder they are, that they're like, oh, this is a different guy. I haven't set in stone everything I'm going to do. I'm going to listen and feed back to this
what I'm getting,
exactly.
into this new energy, and that's it. You know, you have to adapt to the new energy. You have to adapt to what you're being given, and if that's completely different, then I guess the scene ends up changing.
Yeah, every time you watch it, it's like, oh, okay, that's new. That's new. That's the beauty of theatre, isn't it? The aliveness, the fact that every time is going to be different. If they tried to replicate the same performance, they couldn't.
There's never a final version, is there?
Yeah.
Which is really cool. Yeah. So I think at this point, should we run back through our What's On in Manchester?
So what's on in Manchester? We have a solo show written and performed by Mark Farrelly called Quentin Crisp Naked Hope. This is directed by Linda Marlowe and will be on at Hope Mill Theatre on the 14th of September. In this show, Mark Farrelly brings his hugely acclaimed solo play to Hope Mill for an up-close encounter with the original Englishman in New York. So from a conventional upbringing to global notoriety via The Naked Civil Servant, Quentin Crisp was known as one of the most memorable figures of the 20th century. He was openly gay as early as the 1930s and spent decades being beaten up on London streets for refusing to be anything less than himself. Naked Hope depicts Quentin at two phases of his life: alone in his Chelsea flat in the 1960s, certain that life has passed him by, and 30 years later performing an evening with Quentin Crisp in New York. Now, this show is packed with witty gems on everything from cleaning to marriage, and it is a glorious, uplifting celebration of the urgent necessity to be your true self. So that is Quentin Crisp Naked Hope on at Hope Mill Theatre on the 14th of September.
I think that's, again, a very timely piece. We need theatre that reminds us that it's good to be who we are, isn't it?
Absolutely. It should be a celebration of being proud to be yourself and your unique self and everything that you bring.
Absolutely. And then we also have Crying into Bins, which is written and performed by Leah Burge. That's 53-2 on the 27th of September. So the synopsis, again, from the food waste bin into which her friend had a nervous breakdown, Leah tries to make sense of the 20 years she spent serving food and drink. It takes shape as a long-form spoken word poem, but it's an exploration of mental health, societal structures, terrible rage and bittersweet acceptance. Again, that's Crying into Bins at 53-2 on the 27th of September. And that is our What's On in Manchester. A little repeat there for you.
I can't not laugh every time I hear the name.
It's
just so funny.
So good.
I swear we've had like a kind of influx of fantastic play names. Like a few months ago we had Fuck Machine at Contact.
Or
now we've got I Fucking Love Someone I Fucking Hate.
Oh,
Yes,
I
brilliant.
saw that the other day.
There's another
It was
one coming
great.
up called I Fucked You in My Spaceship.
Yes,
Yeah.
Lots of really rude names, which I love.
This is the thing though, when you see a name like that, you're like, oh, I'm so intrigued.
Yeah.
What is this? This is great. It's bold and it says something
Absolutely.
about the place. Like, this play is going to be great. It's going to be out there. I love that.
Yes, and of course Eric versus the Beaver has slightly more subtlety, but not
Not
that
enough.
much.
No.
Not like that, which I am here for, please. More disgusting, dirty play names, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
We've not had a strike from Spotify or from YouTube for saying the name, so I'm going to keep doing it. I mean, at this point, do we get to the point where we say, do you have any kind of insights, any kind of advice for anyone who wants to enter the creative industries or currently works in the creative industries, to how to approach it, what kind of philosophies you might have on doing this?
I mean, I would probably just say, like, it's really hard to do, and I'm not very good at it myself, but just, like, don't compare. Don't compare yourself to anyone else and their trajectory. Don't compare your work to anyone else. Don't try and copy anyone else's voice. You know, only you can write what you write, and just celebrate that, and the opportunities will come. And if they don't, you know, we've got to make them ourselves.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I think you're a very good case in point for writing from a personal perspective. Just the fact that you felt like you couldn't write anything until you were being honest about who you were shows where your writing comes from.
Yeah. You just learn so much about yourself, and as you grow and evolve as a person, your writing kind of grows and evolves with you, doesn't it? It's a personal expression. Like, no matter like what the concept is or where that's come from, there's always an element in it of there's like a fascination with that sort of topic, or there's this part of yourself that you put in your work.
Yeah.
And that honesty, I think, is what connects so many people, because they can really see that authenticity, and that is your voice, isn't it, as a writer?
Yeah, yeah. Even my pieces that aren't about queerness, you know, I've got plays that I've written that haven't been produced yet, where none of the characters are queer, but they're still about that to an extent, or they're about, you know, the feeling of otherness, or trying to fit a mold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I imagine that having experience working with mental health in the NHS is another great insight into the self and how emotions work and how the mind works in a practical, everyday, societal way, which must give you great insight.
Yeah. So the one I wrote for the dissertation for the masters is based on my time working on an eating disorders ward.
Oh, wow.
Which is obviously a very misunderstood illness.
Yeah.
You know, it's got the highest mortality rate of any mental illness. So it's about that specifically, but it's also about how the death of a service user affects the remaining people on the ward, the staff, and the other service users. So it's about, you know, grief interfering with that recovery process. So yeah, that's my most directly inspired by my work one.
I think that's a really important piece. I'd love to see that sort of come to light at some point, you know, in a professionally produced context, because that's so important and so interesting. And it's amazing that there hasn't been more work surrounding it. I think maybe because it's such a sensitive subject matter, and in its own nature, it has the risk of triggering people who already have that condition. So it must be very difficult to produce. But what an interesting subject matter, and something that needs exploring, definitely.
Yeah. And obviously I'm very aware that I have that experience from the professional side of things, not from the personal. So if anyone is interested in being a sensitivity reader and wants to reach out to me, that would be amazing.
That's a great call out. You know, it's nice. I don't think we have enough of our guests doing call outs. So yeah, absolutely. If anyone has lived experience or knows someone who has lived experience of eating disorders or related sort of mental health conditions, please do get in touch with MitPod, and we'll pass anything on to Liam, because I think this is a really important piece that I think should be seen. But as you say, I think that's really, really sensitive and sensible of you. I always think that if you don't have personal lived experience, it's great to run it by someone who does.
Yeah.
And that makes it sort of ethically better, but also it gives you so much better insight.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
100%.
so do get in touch. Your insights and your recommendations to to the people who might be interested in working in the creative industries. It's really pertinent.
And with the amazing work you do as well, working in mental health and supporting people, I think it's so interesting as a writer how you can bring kind of that interest and care for people into your work as well. It's like you're really interested in actually portraying like the human experience in all its complexities, and we've talked about that and how valuable that is as a writer, to have that interest in people, how they think, how they behave, and how you can really bring that into your work in creative ways. And you obviously want to do something to connect with people through your work.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And just as a little side note, I think it's probably a good opportunity to give a little shout out to Sonny Side Up mental health training. Sonny Ferretti often comes into 53.2 to talk specifically to people who work in the creative industries about their mental health, and to sort of do check-ins with them. And we will, at some point in the not too distant future, I'm sure we'll have Sonny on the podcast as well.
Watch this space.
Watch this space. But yeah, since we're talking about mental health related issues, you know, do have a Google of Sonny Side Up. It's SONNY Side Up mental health, because great resource for anyone in the creative industries who is maybe having a bit of a tough time, which is entirely understandable because it is not an easy industry. But I think it's time to wrap up, really.
It's gone so fast.
It has gone fast. It has. Just a little reminder that Eric versus the Beaver is premiering at 53.2 next month from the 16th to the 18th of September. So to purchase your tickets, head to the 53.2 website and enjoy, because I'm sure it's going to be absolutely fantastic. But just as a final bit of housekeeping, if you would like to be a guest on the Manchester Independent Theatre podcast, then simply give us an email on mitpoddy@gmail.com. That's mitpoddy@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at MIT_pod. As we always say, you do not have to be a guest, but if you have a project on, let us know. If it's a little too close to the time to have you on, we can just share it on socials. We can do a shout out in a video, anything like that at all. Let us know. Also, we want listener questions. Send us in voice notes.
Please send them in.
Please, we want to hear from you. And we have been getting some great ones. We want more. And like and subscribe to everything that's out there. The more you do that, the more we know you want us to do more, and the more we can do. Again, as we're running up to autumn, we are looking for people who have maybe worked as scare actors, Santas,
Halloween special. Christmas special coming up, guys.
Yeah, any Santas, any elves, any panto performers, any scare actors. We want to hear from you. And I think... Is that it?
I think that is it. I think we've
amazing.
covered, and I think the only thing to say is just thank you so much, Liam, for coming on the pod and telling us about your journey and your exciting shows. And honestly, we would just wish you all the success with Eric versus the Beaver and Some Masterchef Shit as well. So, and your tour.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Do look up Liam. We'll link to everything in our description. Look everything up that he's doing. Follow his journey. It's going to be very exciting. But for now, from all of us at MitPod, thanks so much for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. I have to say bye.
Yeah, everything is up to you.